Hello there, welcome to 50 Million Fables. I am sure you are wondering why you are here. No, you didn't click on this video by mistake. No, it wasn't for the clickbait thumbnail either. You clicked on this video because you want to remember a story. Yes, as a child you were told so many stories, but now your memory's got more plot holes than a blockbuster sequel. Who am I? Well, that's not important. What is important is I can help you remember. All for the measly price of one like on this video. Go on, pay up, because today I will help you remember the story of the tortoise and the hare. I know, you are probably saying, but I remember this one already. Do you though? Let me guess you remember something like this. Once upon a time there was a hare who was very proud of how fast he could run. He would often boast about his speed and mock those who were slower. One day the hare saw a tortoise plodding along and started to make fun of him.
How do you expect to get anywhere walking at that pace?
The hare jeered. The tortoise, tired of the hare's arrogance, replied,
I may be slow, but I'm steady. How about we have a race to see who is faster?
The hare laughed at the absurdity of the idea but accepted the challenge. The two agreed on a route and set off at the starting line. As soon as the race began, the hare dashed away, leaving the tortoise far behind. Confident that he would easily win, the hare decided to take a nap halfway through the race.
I'll just rest here for a while,
he thought.
The tortoise will never catch up.
Meanwhile, the tortoise kept moving steadily, step by step, without stopping. Eventually, he passed the sleeping hare and continued toward the finish line. When the hare finally woke up, he realized the tortoise was nearing the end of the race. He sprinted as fast as he could, but it was too late. The tortoise had already crossed the finish line. The tortoise had won the race. Before we continue though, let me mention the most common variation of this fable you may also remember, which is the hunter variation. In this version, the hare doesn't sleep off mid-race. Honestly, who does that? It instead falls into a hunter's trap. This gives us an understandable reason as to why the hare was late in completing the race. This also enforces all the lessons to be learned in the original story, since if the hare was a little cautious, he would have recognized the trap and successfully evaded it. All in all, the tortoise and the hare still remains one of the most famous fables out there, recognized in one form or another all over the world. So there you go. You remember the story now, and if this was your first time hearing it, congratulations. You now understand why boomers tell you slow and steady wins the race. But what if I told you? You are remembering wrong. In the words of my grandmother, I don't care what they tell you in school, the hare will never lose to tortoise, honestly. Before we continue, I need to remind you that the price of this tale is a like, since I have to pay tax to the YouTube algorithm. Now let's Game of Thrones this tale. Recast the characters, rewrite the script, and change the game to get your money's worth. Once upon a time, there was a very hard-working hare. With his incredible speed, he zipped around the town, helping all those who needed a hand. This made the hare incredibly popular and loved, but not all the animals loved the hare. The tortoise especially despised the hare.
Why do they only appreciate him? I help around too,
he insisted. Hearing this, one might believe the tortoise and the hare were bitter enemies, but that couldn't be further from the truth, for the tortoise and the hare were great friends. In fact, of all the animals in the forest, the hare had helped the tortoise the most. It was fine at first, but later on, every single time the hare helped the tortoise, it made the tortoise feel more insecure and inadequate until he eventually snapped. So the tortoise thought of a brilliant plan.
Now I can get rid of the hare and get everything I ever wanted.
The tortoise got to work. He dug a huge pit on a trail and covered it up with some branches. Come morning, the tortoise went to meet the hare.
Hey hare, old chum, mind racing your pal for a bit? I need to get some exercise done,
he said.
Sure thing, tortoise buddy. I would gladly race my best pal. Best of luck to you, bestie,
the hare replied. Little did he know he was about to fall into the tortoise trap. When they met at the starting line, the animals of the forest gathered around to find out what was happening. The race began and the hare took off at blistering speed. Halfway to the goal, the hare fell into the pit the tortoise had created.
Help!
He cried, but no one could hear him. The tortoise eventually reached the pit, slowly went around it, and eventually won the race. He immediately went to work, destroying what was left of the hare's reputation and reframing it to his advantage.
I found the hare cursing us all for all the work we make him do, calling us slow and weak. I tried to explain to him that sometimes being slow is necessary, but he laughed at me and challenged me to a race to prove it. After losing to me, he ran off, abandoning you all because his ego was hurt. But fear not, for you all can depend on me from now on.
Thus our story ends with the tortoise's victory and the version of the story we know today. The moral of the story: no one is universally loved. No matter what you do in life, there is a tortoise who would love to see you fail. Whereas the original story teaches us the value of the tortoise's slow pace, this edit teaches us to be careful of others. If you enjoyed the video even just a little bit, then remember to like it, as it helps us out and tells us we aren't wasting our time. So there you have it. The tortoise and the hare, just how my grandmother told it. Now you can remember this story correctly. You are welcome. Before you go, if you remember the story a bit differently, or if your grandmother told you a different version, please let us know in the comments below. Come back next week, and I will help you remember another story you probably remember wrong. See you then!